right, welcome to Con Carolina's Television. Look at this beautiful set we have here tonight for you. We have DC versus Marvel. And for Team DC, we have with us a very special, like it's been a long time since you actually been on the show.
It has.
Why don't you tell CCTV who you are and why you're here?
I am a Roogs. My channel is Nerd Mom Ace. I am a BSBN member. I'm actually a founding member. I been here a long time, and so I stream all the time, and I'm a nerd, and that's about it. That's all you get. That's all you're getting. I introduce everybody all the time, so I'm not doing it tonight.
All right, and of course we have CCTV's own Nick Barone. Say hey, Nick.
Hey, everybody. I'm Nick. If you've been watching this stream since, August until now, you have seen me. I'm here. I'm so pumped. I'm here for Team DC, and I'm ready to go to war.
Boom. All right, so and then there's the Marvel side, but no.
Okay.
We have
some,
oh my god!
Yeah, right.
Two incredible reoccurring guests that we have, and we will start with Mr. Backdrop.
Subtle. It's subtle.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey man, I gotta tear up. I got to equal out for Bronner over here. I'm Seth. I've been on got a handful of times at this point, maybe half a dozen or so. I am here because I love good comics, and because I love good comics, it's got to be Marvel.
Fair.
He's already selling in the introduction. All right, that's dirty.
Yeah.
That's dirtier than Bronner being clearly biased.
I feel like his backdrop is like the guys who drive the big truck. He must be overcompensating for something. If your arguments were that good, you wouldn't need that big of a backdrop. Just saying.
All right. Okay. We'll go ahead. We'll switch it up a little bit.
All right, and the other team member of Marvel will be Ryan. Ryan's been on the show before. Tell us about yourself, Ryan.
I'm Ryan Andersons. I'm a comedian and second-time guest on this thing. Here to talk about Marvel, and I mean, I don't really know why we're even bothering talking about DC. There's not too much to mention.
It's a real relevancy issue here, yeah.
We'll see if that holds water.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about how this is going to do, the format, and what we're going to do. First, I want to say, hey, Calvino, welcome, and Mechanica, hi there, and whoever else is in the chat. Hey. All right, so Marvel versus DC. This is the debate phase will go as follows. There's an argument phase where you will have 3 minutes to present your argument, and we will toggle back and forth each round. Marvel will present their argument, and then DC will present their argument. And after each argument phase, there will be a rebuttal phase. Now, that rebuttal phase will have 1 minute to just rebut what they are talked about during
So to be as snarky as possible.
Phase.
Got it.
Right.
Cool. All right. Cool.
Right.
All right.
Bury their asses. And then after the rebuttal phase, of course, then it'll be the other team's turn for the argument phase, and then the rebuttal phase. And then there's going to be a free-for-all where y'all just throw the gauntlets out and just freaking cat, paw, scratch, and all your way to the top. And then we will go to audience questions. Now,
Sweet.
That will allow the audience to ask questions that may not have been answered during your argument. So, and then we will have my ruling. And of course, whoever presents the best argument will get the point.
How many Batman statues do we have to give you to get a point?
But
did you get that Amazon order, by the way?
Thank you so much for that. I've been bribed.
Bronner, check the Mortal Kombat chat.
I can't be bribed. I can't.
You sure about that?
Okay. Yeah, I can probably be bribed, but let's not talk.
Let's not
Calvino,
mention
I used
that.
to love you.
mention
Calvino,
the
why'd you break my
obvious
heart like
corruption.
that?
Damn.
So initially, this is going to consist of 3 rounds, and the
Okay.
3 topics for each round is going to be comics for the first round. It's going to be live action for the second round, and most iconic for the third round. And we do have a 4th and a 5th round planned, but if we have time, we'll get to them. If not, bada bing, bada boom. We have Marvel versus DC Part 2. All right. So, yeah. Okay. So let's get you guys ready.
Yeah.
All poised, ready? Let's get it.
Ready to go.
Okay. All right. So in the round 1, we're going to talk about comics. Which company has the better comics? Marvel will propose their argument first. Let me get my timer ready. Bada bing, bada boom. And what? Go ahead if you have questions.
Seth, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'm good if you want to go first. And
Okay.
Yeah, just as a reminder, you have 3 minutes for the entire debate.
Yeah.
And then DC will have 1 minute to have their rebuttal.
Cool.
All
So
right.
if you want to start off, then we'll kind of toss the baton. Yeah.
All right, Marvel, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. And away we go.
Okay. So Marvel Comics is superior. And it has been historically superior for a long time. DC never even started as superior. It started as completely different comic book companies that then just couldn't think of a better name. So they took on the identity of Detective Comics to start the whole thing. Marvel rebranded itself and became cohesive and full. And as a perfect example, in the past 2 months, I went to pick up my comics for the first time in 7 months, and every single book was a Marvel comic. I didn't have a single DC issue because nothing good came out in the past 7 months. All the stories are confusing. Most of the characters are dead, or they're not dead, or sometimes they're gay kids, which that's not a problem, but it's just all the cool gay comics in DC don't sell very well, and all the cool gay comics in Marvel sell really well, and my cat really likes them.
Excellent. Yeah.
Do you want to add anything, Seth? You got a minute and a half?
I think too. Marvel comics are just so much more relatable to people, and that's part of why they've endured and been so popular for so long, rather than just focusing on a handful of icon. I'm not gonna argue that Batman, Superman, they're not iconic. They are, but when you think about DC, you think about 6 characters at most. The vast majority of people know those 6 characters, and they know nothing else. Marvel, you talk about Marvel, and people know the X-Men, they know the Avengers, they know everything. They know a space raccoon. It's because Marvel characters are relatable. They have human flaws, human foibles. They're not gods, whereas DC characters are untouchable. Yeah, exactly. They are the new gods, and they are
Literally.
so far above and so far, so far separated from humanity. One of your most relatable characters in DC is a fucking billionaire. Screw Bruce Wayne, man. Screw the billionaires. Get out of here. You got characters in Marvel that people know and people love because they see themselves in them. Even superpowered versions of them, obviously, but they can relate to them. They can see their lives and see how there are parallels, and they can learn things from them. They think about how. Oh, we done?
No, you got 20 seconds.
Oh, 20 seconds. Okay.
Keep going,
think about how the X-Men were always an allegory for racial tensions and everything else, and civil rights in general. Can't see anything like that in DC.
Boom.
All right.
Nick, do you want to go first?
Oh yeah, is it rebuttal time?
Yeah, it's rebuttal time.
Let me
To be clear, we're gonna now for a minute rebuttal to the comments that were just made. after that, we get to do our whole argument as to why DC is good. So right now, our exploration is poking holes in the arguments that are just presented.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So you have 1 minute and you are on the clock.
Okay. Number one, sales are not always an indication of quality. There was mention of like buying more Marvel comics than DC. That doesn't really mean much other than they have a better advertising company. I also heard a lot of why DC is bad in your arguments, but not nearly enough reasons why Marvel is actually any good. There was a lot of this is why DC stinks, but I didn't hear a lot of this is why Marvel is great and uplifting. I also heard something about cats reading comics. Cats can't read. Everybody knows that. That should just be thrown right out. Also, relatability was mentioned, but there was not a thorough explanation of how they are actually more relatable than DC characters. I heard some examples of relatable Marvel characters, but not DC. And also, there was something said about how there isn't an exploration of racial conflict in DC Comics, but that is untrue. John Stewart Green Lantern's comics were some of the first comics to really explore issues of race and how racial issues negatively impact people of color in this country.
Time.
Sorry.
Well said, Arugs.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm
It's
so
all
sorry.
good. No, you're good. I was like,
1 minute is tight.
I'll just wait for the free for all. It's fine. It's all good.
1 minute is tight, but this
Just wonder
is
what argument you heard. Like that there's no racial tension.
We'll go to
in
free
DC.
for all. We'll go to free for all.
You
We
need
got
to
a free
table
for all
that
coming
there,
up.
self. Okay, we have now 3 minutes on the clock for Team DC, and they are going to talk about comics and which company has the better comics.
Before we
Go.
start the clock, real quick, do you want to go first? You want me to jump in?
You go ahead. You seem to be on a roll
Oh,
right now.
boy.
I'll just feel it. You're good. You're good. It's fine.
All
But
right.
actually,
I'm
I
going
want
to
to
try
go
to be
first.
quick.
I'll mention. I got some. I got something first for you. So
Okay,
I'll
good.
go. All right.
You are on the clock.
Okay, well, I would like to. They talked about relatability, but honestly, I think that there are 6 main characters because they're the 6 main characters that people hold on to. They hold on to the ideals of where the country is moving. Also, they were one of the first comics that actually like promoted women as superheroes. They weren't, and they also liberated their sexuality in Wonder Woman and made her strong and powerful and gave a representation for women where Marvel actually was lacking in that until later, until they saw the popularity of comics for females. And that actually pushed them to move forward. Also, they have the best supervillains. Let's just talk about the anti-hero. Our country and our society, they love anti-heroes. That is why DC comics have, their heroes may not be that, they might be questionable, but their villains are just as relatable and they're just as smart and they're just as well read. And that's why there are multiple spin-offs and movies about all of that. And so their comics reflect that as well. Who doesn't want to be Lex? Who doesn't want to date Lex Luthor, whether you like him or not? He's still a billionaire with a bank account too. Like,
Yeah. I also want to throw in here, like, while both companies are known for writing monthly serial comics, DC is known for putting out far more books that have actual accolades and have been transformative to the genre. They're willing to take risks. They're exploring not just the weekly routine of a tired action soap opera, but also the potential of what comics can be. And with that includes the DC Vertigo imprint with comics such as The Sandman, Preacher, Why the Last Man, Fables, all these incredible books that allow authors to really explore the stories they want to tell. In addition, Alan Moore's Watchmen was a revelation to comics and showed nerds that comics could be more than just flash and pizzazz, that they could truly be literature in their own right. And then we have all these fantastic stories like Kingdom Come, The Dark Knight Returns, The Long Halloween, Superman Red Sun, the list goes on. In addition, when we talk about representation, DC has done so much more and been quicker when it comes to inclusion of LGBTQIA plus characters in its comics, including Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, Aqualad, John Constantine, Batwoman, Tim Drake Robin, John Kent Superman, Alan Grant Green Lantern, and the list goes on. These are characters that are put at the forefront. They're not side characters that are allocated to just like supporting roles. They are characters that own their own series and they are frontliners. And that just shows DC's commitment to inclusion. While Marvel might be good if you like monotonous adherence to the rigid formula, DC is a place to go for experimentation and innovation. And while serial comics are becoming stagnant and predictable, the genre needs to be trying new things and adapting in order to succeed. That is why DC is superior. I rest my case, Your Honor.
And time. Wow. Wait, and time.
Oh, come on.
All
Oh,
right.
he's got notes. He's got notes.
He's got
Wonder
notes. I got notes, buddy. Let's do this.
Let's put 1 minute
I
on
got
the
no
clock.
notes. I'm
And
just going off the dome.
we
Yeah,
are
me too.
going-
It's fine. It's good.
We're going with Marvel's rebuttal.
Can I start?
Rebuttal.
And
Go ahead. Hit it.
starting now. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay, key to a lot of things that Nick was saying is that DC was relevant. DC was pivotal. DC did do those things. They haven't done anything in years. They canceled the Vertigo imprint. They canceled the Wildstorm imprint. They created the Young Animal imprint, and then they're summarily killing it. They did not treat a lot of those creators very well. And
Alan Moore can't stand DC.
Alan Moore is a prime example of how DC did not treat their creators very well. Like, that aside, they may have been first in a lot of things, but they're not consistent in their messaging, and they're not consistent in their support of their messaging. They will backtrack and cover up anything and rewrite history over and over and over again. Alan Scott was never a first-time gay Green Lantern. It was like years and years and years later in an alternate Earth that it was a gay Green Lantern.
Oh,
And my cat gets
And
real upset
you
when I
rebut
start
it.
talking about Alan Scott.
All right. So that closes up that, except for we now have
A minute
free
is
for
tough.
all.
that is
It is.
short. That is short.
Sure.
Oh, he froze.
It might be.
Who
It might
froze?
be. I don't know, Bronner, if you're willing to do this, but maybe for the next round we can do 2 minutes for the rebuttals, because I did feel like
I'm
a shitlord.
100%
I
fine
got
with
to the
that.
end of my points, but I didn't leave room for Anna to speak, and that sucked.
It is tight for two people to speak.
All right. So we'll do 2 minutes.
Okay.
And we'll do
Okay.
1 minute increments for each of you. How's that?
Ah, that sounds good.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds good.
All right. So now we are going into our free for all phase. And let me just double check something. Free for all will last no longer than 4 minutes. So let me put the timer.
That's what you want.
And yeah, so get ready for a headache. Wow. We got a hashtag. I just have to say that the chat said hashtag clip during Nick's presentation, and they're like,
Uh-oh.
"Wow, go Nick!" So
Yeah, that's right.
Nick has got
You know
some
what?
fans in the chat.
Chat, I don't want to go to war with you anymore, chat. I love you. I always have.
All right, free for all will commence now.
Okay, we
So
want
I
to talk
just
about
wanna
creators
really
being
quickly-
exploited.
Really quickly, I want
Okay,
to mention
Go
that
for it, Seth.
Wonder Woman was definitely the Justice League secretary. So if you wanted to bring in like a representation and like all the great things they've done for female characters, she was the secretary though.
Did you hear that?
Like,
Seth
come
looks at
on.
women and sees secretaries. You heard it right here, folks. You heard it right
Yeah,
here.
but
You
she
just said it.
wasn't. But you know what? Whether you see her as a secretary or not, she was still a main character. She was
was a
not a
strong
side character
woman. Thank
that
you
she
very much.
wrote into
Are
a
you
main
really-
character, which is what Marvel did.
Are you really going to sit back
Not-
and let
not
this
actually
guy say that
responding
the
to the
strongest
point,
female
you know?
comic book character is a secretary? Listen to that.
They
Oh,
gave her
yeah.
a force to have sex
All right,
with.
we need to have some negative points here for logical fallacies. Also,
Now,
what
hold
the
on.
hell argument were you listening to earlier when you thought I said that DC didn't have or didn't talk about racial issues or anything like that?
You didn't bring it
Like-
up. You said that Marvel explores
Do I
them,
have
and
to
you said
bring up-
DC didn't.
Do I have to
And
bring
that's
up
not
your
true.
points for you, Nick? Do I have
That's
to
not
talk?
true.
Do I have to bring that up for you? Do I have? You have
That is
so little
interesting that you're
argument.
talking about what you're blaming me for what you didn't do. That's interesting.
You have so little argument that you need me to make DC's case for you. I mean,
Kirby.
you know.
Listen, y'all. Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was originally at Marvel Comics, and he got so thoroughly screwed over that he made his way over to DC. And when he did, he created the Fourth World comics. The Fourth World, which probably went on to inspire Star Wars. Like, look at the similarities. You can look it up in your own time.
Yeah.
Vastly transformative. Jack Kirby is a living legend, and he got so screwed by that company, by your company, that he ended up having to go and leave to another company to
If we're
find
talking about
something
businesses being shitty
close to a good
sometimes, think about like
environment.
Alan Moore getting so pissed off by DC that he basically left
Alan Moore's
comics.
always pissed
Like,
off, man. He
I mean,
is
that's
the
true,
definition
but
of a curmudgeon.
if we're talking about like companies being shitty, like it happens.
They're
You're
all
gonna
shitty.
have-
That's not really
Yeah.
an argument. They've been shitty in different times. Like that's not really here or there. We're here to talk about the characters.
So you agree that Marvel is shitty? Is that what I just heard? That is what I
agree
just
that
heard.
they're
Oh,
both
these strong
shitty.
That
men.
is what I just heard. He just said it. You heard it there, folks. Also, Marvel. We talked about retcons, but Marvel retcons too. Marvel retcons all the time. There was
Not
the
nearly
whole
as much as DC
when did
does.
Marvel?
No way.
Yeah, when did Marvel
Heroes
eliminate an
Reborn?
entire universe? Like, think about the New
They
52 and that garbage.
Heroes
They
Reborn
rebooted-
was the worst retcon of all time, even worse than the New 52, to the point where
Oh,
some
God,
things,
no.
What about
some
Rebirth?
things
What
from the
about-
New 52 still stand today. Whereas Heroes Reborn,
ones?
they pretended it was a different
Seriously,
universe.
What ones?
They
How
made
many-
Heroes
Give me an
Reborn
example.
an alternate
Give me an
planet on the
example.
other side of the sun because they were that ashamed of it.
And it doesn't really exist anymore. Whereas
No.
you don't know what still exists with DC because they reboot it every couple of years. I don't know what reboot they're on. They just
DC
had like an Infinity Crisis or something, or a Final Crisis Part
DC
5.
has gone through its fair share of reboots over time, but usually what it comes back to is its strong founded legacy, and it does have legacy.
On
You
the
have
same six
generations and
characters, 'cause no one
generations
gives a
of
shit
different
about anybody
superheroes.
else.
characters.
Yeah,
That's
pretty-
not
pretty
true. It's
much,
not
yeah.
6 characters. That is
Um,
being
Batman, Wonder
obtuse.
Woman, and Superman. Nobody
That
knows
would
the
be
other
like
ones.
if I
The
said
other ones
the
are
Avengers
interchangeable.
are the
You thought
only
about
Marvel
Robot Boy.
superheroes.
Robot
The
Boy.
Teen
Quick
Titans
guy.
in and of themselves are more than 6 characters, and they're hugely recognizable and very relatable. If you're going to say that there are only 6 DC characters that are recognizable, that is patently false. And that's like saying that the Avengers are the only Marvel
you talk
characters.
to,
and
you
that's
talk to
not
anybody
true.
on the street and get them to name DC characters, and they
Ask
can tell
them,
you
ask them,
maybe
no,
6.
ask them who named
Well,
the
when you
first
get
superheroes.
it right the first time, you don't need to invent new ones.
Superman and Batman are going to be the first 2 superheroes they say.
Shut up, shut up. I love you. I love y'all.
All right. Time
Hear
out,
that?
guys. Okay.
You see it at home.
Coming up next, I'm going to give the audience a chance now to pose a question in the chat for either Marvel or DC. And we'll give just a few minutes for them to.
I know.
I notice you still never said like any of the New 52 that are still like any of that's still around.
Because we ran out of time and we're going a million different
I have
directions.
no idea.
You
Boys,
have
you're
no
both
idea.
pretty.
When
You're
was the
both
last
pretty.
time you read a DC comic?
The last time I read a DC comic, I read The Batman That Laughs, and I read it
6 years ago?
2 days ago. No,
And
Okay,
and
all
it's
right.
from 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
I
the
can't
last
tell you-
DC comic I literally read because I read it 2 days
Oh.
ago. Yeah.
I literally can't tell you anything that's going on in DC now, and that saddens me because I do
Yeah.
have Green Lantern tattoos and I have X-Men tattoos, and like I have no idea what's going on with
That's
Green
true.
Lantern.
Would you mind showing those Green Lantern tattoos to the people? Could you mind showing them? And then can you show us any Marvel tattoos that you have? Do you have any? Any
Yeah,
of
I
those?
do.
Oh, no, wait, let's do it.
All right, we're just gonna believe you. We're just gonna believe you.
All right. So we have chat questions. You ready?
We do have chat questions before we all are getting naked.
That
Ready,
question.
ready.
Save that
Different
for the
show.
post show.
Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. All right. So from the chat, we have Team Marvel. What's your favorite DC character and why?
Seth, do you want to go first?
Love it.
God.
I have an answer if you don't.
Yeah, go ahead and I'll Yeah.
My favorite character is Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, because he's the only DC character with an imagination. None of the rest of ones like think for themselves. Batman pays somebody to think for him. Like Kyle just comes up with ideas and they sprout out of his ring, and it's really cool to me.
If I had to pick,
Man, it's so hard to think of one character.
It really kind of is, to be
I mean,
honest.
you could pass. You could say nobody.
No, like if I had to pick a DC character, I'd probably say Beast Boy.
Solid choice.
Yeah, he's got like a whole lot of shit in his back. He's one of the only DC characters that is like, and granted, the Teen Titans that team is definitely more like a Marvel team. They feel like a Marvel team versus a DC team. So I like them a lot more than most of any of the other, except Superboy, Robin. I don't care about. But Beast Boy, he has a hell of a past. He's funny, quirky. I like that.
All right. And then Team DC, what's your favorite Marvel character and why?
That one was easy for me. Actually, my favorite Marvel character is Moon Knight. Nice. I like the complexity of the character. I like how it's action packed, but there's dealing with a lot of other stuff. I like how layered the character is, and so Moon Knight has to be my favorite Marvel. Like, yeah. I think he's underrated a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's awesome. Moon Knight's
he's even more psychotic in the comics. It's great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Marvel?
Yeah.
My favorite Marvel character, it changes because they're just also unmemorable. But I gotta go with Daredevil. I gotta hand it to Daredevil. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, very interesting, very compelling. Watching him have his struggles between the violence that he feels he has to perpetrate to keep his streets clean versus his like Catholic upbringing and those Christian values he has. Well, normally Christianity in literature usually bores me, but in his case, I find it very compelling. It makes for a cool character, and he's had some just fantastic comic book arcs. Very memorable. Anyway.
All right, so a couple more questions here. We have worst character from the team and why. I don't know which team they're referring to, so pick a team and give me the worst character.
So like worst Marvel character, worst DC character. Let's go with that because that's interesting.
Do we want to switch? Like you do worst DC or worst Marvel character, and we do worst Marvel DC character. Okay.
Sure.
I'll go ahead and I'll say like worst Marvel character. The first one that popped into my mind is Star Fox, brother of Thanos, because he literally has the power to make people fall in love with him, and he has used that for nefarious purposes. There are some real consent issues that are raised by that character, and they would do good not to include him in anything. And it's kind of amazing to me that they included him in a tag at the end of the Eternals movie. They brought him into the MCU.
Oh shit!
Bad call.
Bad
call.
Harry Styles.
Yeah.
That guy.
That
he is problems.
Yeah.
Worst. I'm gonna need a minute. I'm going to think. I have to go through the catalog of.
Let's get a DC then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worst DC character to me. Oh God, Lois Lane. Not like just because she's so underutilized at all points. Nobody seems to appreciate Lois Lane for Lois Lane. Like she was the damsel for years and years and years and years. In the 90s, she started getting a personality and started doing things on her own. And then she's just kind of lingered. The only time that I recall her being super cool was in Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman run, where she got superpowers and she got to have some agency and do some cool things. I wish somebody would write Lois Lane well and like give her like a good
Yeah.
story that showcases like how tough it is to be a journalist. And like, I don't know, if there is one out there that I haven't read yet, I apologize in advance, but I haven't found it yet. So
All right, next.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, and it's just because I don't like him. It's just because I don't like him, and I hate Thor. I fucking hate Thor. Everybody loves goddamn Thor. I fucking hate him. I just hate something about him makes my skin crawl, and he's the worst.
Which Thor are you talking about though? Like
all of them, any of them.
Any Thor,
Any Thor. I don't know. Something about his character just rubs me the wrong way.
All right, Steph,
I have no intelligent opinion about that. That's just a gut feeling. It's just that's the way it is.
Worst DC character. There's like you could go like classically bad, like Calendar Man, or like just half of the Golden Age, Batman Rogues Gallery. Just
Calendar Man got revamped in a really cool way, actually.
I
Longest
couldn't
Halloween.
say that I care, but all right, okay. Calendar Man.
Cool.
Okay.
One last question. One last question. Sorry, we got to kind of move on.
Oh,
yeah, we do.
We're still only on round one.
Yep.
All right. So
Let's
Calvino's
rapid fire
asking. So Team Marvel, in real life, what DC character would you like to fight in real life?
In real life, okay.
Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy's a badass.
He is. I don't know. He could probably school me, but I never liked Jimmy Olsen.
Lex Luthor. I don't know. Just punch Mark Zuckerberg in the face. I know that's not like the classic, but like anytime it's since that movie, I can only see Lex Luthor as fucking Mark Zuckerberg, and it's just ruined for me. But
all right, and Team DC, what Marvel character would you like to fight in real life?
Star-Lord. I feel like I win.
I think you'd win too.
I feel like I could win.
He's vulnerable to a nut shot. It's
Oh man, this is hard because it's like I'm assuming that what you mean by that is like who do you dislike and you'd want to fight, but I'm also like I couldn't beat the person I'd want to fight. I'd want to beat in an actual fight because I'd go with Cyclops. I think that guy has become a major league douchebag and needs to get smacked upside the face because he's just such an a-hole. But I don't think I could win a fight against him. If it was DC, I was going to go with Dr. Niles Calder from the Doom Patrol because he has no powers and is wheelchair bound, and I can just tip him down a staircase and be done with it.
You can Mr. Sinister him.
Whoops.
All right.
Professor Xavier's greatest weakness.
I feel bad about that answer. That was bad.
All right.
Well,
I'm actually going to save my tallies and announce them
Till
at the
the
end of the show.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to round two, and round two is movies and television. Which company has better live action films and TV shows, Marvel or DC? And Marvel, you will go first. Let me get you some time on the timer.
Seth, do you want to start?
You have 3 minutes, and your time starts now.
Yeah, God, this one could be 1 minute because the MCU. I mean, the MCU redefined an entire genre. With Iron Man in 2008. Before that, superhero movies were dark, brooding slogs or goofy bullshit that no one really liked. With that, it inspired an entire cultural movement with people flocking to the theaters, picking up these things, and linking back to the comics. It inspired a resurgence in, comic sales and everything like that. It redefined, it rebirthed comics in the country, essentially. You have, what is it, like 40 movies at this point? Now, granted, not all of them are winners, but yeah, you know, if you have 90%, 85% of those, you still have 20, 30 movies that are really solid pictures. And, you know, funny, action-packed, touching. Whereas in DC, you have Zack Snyder, Grayscale, you know, Broodfests. You have one really good Batman movie, but that's about it.
I was going to say, like, just that you don't have it for the DC movies. They're trying to reach back to Michael Keaton Batman in order to get points for their movie universe, whereas Marvel just keeps moving forward. They're introducing new characters, younger characters, new twists on things, new realities entirely without completely breaking everything like DC is doing. I'm hoping James Gunn can fix it.
Yeah, they're not rebooting their entire cinematic universe after 5 films. They didn't have Wonder Woman 1984, so that's a big point. Like, honestly, there's not really a whole lot else to say other than, and you talked about anti-heroes. You have the Daredevil, the Punisher, Moon Knight. You have all kinds of different genres, and you have comedies. You have like 80s style action family shows. You have like, there's so much there for anyone to come in, and it's it's not relying on those same 6 characters again, with the same stories again and again and again. The same. How many times have we seen Batman's parents get killed? Like, I don't want it anymore. Like, come up with something new. Marvel's.
Why does Luther need to have a new
the same
real
amount
estate
of times
scheme
I've seen
every year?
Spider-Man's uncle die? So just that.
They didn't do it in the last few. In the last 3.
just saying. Okay, so.
Do we need more time? I don't really think so.
I think we're good. Here.
All right.
Nick looks like he's about to burst, so I'm going to let you go. You're good.
And let's do 2 minutes for the rebuttal, we said?
Yeah.
Right.
This is going to be a little shorter because a lot of the arguments I want to actually save for when it's time to argue in favor of DC. But a couple things I do want to point out is that while the MCU, it is true, the MCU has absolutely dominated the theater. But that is also, like, many, many directors have come forward and said that that is stifling creativity. And it's actually, like, comic book movies are going stale. And a lot of that has to do with oversaturation, a point I will get into later. There's also a formulaic attribute to these movies where it feels like you've seen the same thing over and over and over again with different characters, but it's the same story ultimately and has the same elements. Also, the name James Gunn was brought up, and I'm so happy that you did, because James Gunn is a fantastic creative director who was so disenfranchised by Marvel that he fled to DC to go somewhere where he could be comfortable, somewhere where he would be given the freedoms to make the movies he could, and where he wouldn't be fired for a bunch of internet trolls unmasking some age-old tweets that were taken completely out of context. So James Gunn left for a better environment. And I'm going to rest there.
Hard. He's coming back for number 3.
All right, Elise, you got something to add to the rebuttal?
And the holiday special.
We have to go back, but they're talking about, well, now that is the MCU has pushed forward the current, but think about how when back in the 80s and 90s, how DC was, they were the MCU. So they did it first. Y'all are just making it shiny. That's like, it's just a new kid on the block. I think that the old stories aren't just as brooding. They're just as diverse there. And I think that, yes, we've been lacking in the movies, but if you think about all the television shows, all the shows, Harley Quinn, you think about Gotham, all of those they all spread out. And they spread out amongst, and it's not necessarily just the movie theaters, maybe dominating the movie theaters, but they're definitely taking a market somewhere on their shows. So,
all right, now we have the DC argument.
He
All
has notes. I'm going to let him read his notes.
I'm ready to launch. All right.
All right.
So I'm going to start off with the obvious. It is no secret that the MCU is a well-oiled machine, and it has experienced much financial success. However, even the MCU itself had to admit that it is formulaic in the Disney Plus show She-Hulk by revealing that a robot was designing the films to all include the same redundant elements. It parodied the fact that the MCU is formulaic and tired. Recent entries have also left a lot to be desired. In a film market oversaturated with Marvel titles, it is easy to forget that the first superhero films to truly be successful were DC films. From Richard Donner's Superman to Tim Burton's Batman, DC Comics put comic book films on the map by showing that they could actually be good. We would not have an MCU if not for these pioneers. Furthermore, in the mid-2000s, when movies like X-Men: The Last Stand and the Fantastic Four were ruining the genre, DC put out Batman Begins, which brought freshness back to comic book movies and introduced elements of realism into the mix. Its sequel, The Dark Knight, is regarded by many as the best comic book film of all time and included an undeniably phenomenal performance by Heath Ledger as the Joker,
I will deny.
which is the only acted part in any superhero film to receive an Academy Award. Without the Dark Knight trilogy, there wouldn't be anything like Captain America: The Winter Soldier in existence. Moreover, DC has done better with regard to female representation in its movies. At the time, then Marvel CEO Ike Perlmutter famously claimed in a leaked company email that female-led superhero films are a disaster, which led to the company stalling for over a decade on giving its most prominent female hero, Black Widow, a movie of her own. Meanwhile, DC released Wonder Woman, and it was magnificent with a charming and unforgettable performance by Gal Gadot. Wonder Woman dwarfs Captain Marvel by comparison and was released 2 years earlier.
Gross.
In addition, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is amazing and adored by fans. Whereas Marvel brings an abundance of movies of wavering quality to the table as part of the soulless Disney money-making machine, DC has produced some top-quality films that bucked back against stagnation. DC has not oversaturated itself and is not responsible for the creative chokehold that comic book movies have over the film industry. I will turn it over to you now, Anna. It's up to you.
I don't know. That was brilliantly said. I mean, the only thing is, like, when I think about live action DC movies versus Marvel, I'm a musician. I have a music degree in music. When you play DC, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, when you play their soundtracks, they were written and they were beautifully constructed, and that's memorable. And that is something that you can be stretched amongst anyone, any country, regardless of language barrier. And you like Marvel had to sort of piece theirs together off of soundtracks that other people wrote. So I mean, cool.
I don't know about that.
I will also bring up, because I think it's still our time.
Black Panther.
Oh,
There it is.
TV, we got
Right.
you beat.
What?
I gotta say, I wish I got the questions in advance so I could write a very long
I know, right? How long
thing.
did it take you to think out that whole script and like put in all the little points? Like
These
you
are
gotta really dig
from
for
my
all
head.
that shit.
You know what, everybody at home, that was a salacious and downright scandalous accusation being made.
And I,
I
can
mean,
see
Browner
this
did
is
take
tracking.
in the stream that you wrote the questions.
Get in the comments, everybody. Oh, questions like which did better comics, which had better movies? Like, come on. Those are like such base level questions.
I didn't know.
Really gonna fault me for that?
Y'all knew you were going to talk about the movies. Y'all knew you were going to talk about the
We knew
comics. So
we were going to talk about stuff. We didn't know what. We didn't know we were supposed to have prepared answers.
No, I just showed up and said, I like DC, whatever. I didn't show up with Jack.
I was here to argue.
I mean, if I spent a few
you have
hours researching and putting together all kinds of stuff, I'm sure I could sound smart too.
all right. So this is part of your
dumb.
rebuttal. Go ahead.
I-
Marvel's rebuttal.
Oh, to DC being cool. Okay. Starting with Into the Spider-Verse. All of all the talk about Marvel being this mechanized machine, the Disney machine of always pumping out things. Into the Spider-Verse is brand new fresh blood that took stories that nobody had really seen and put them all together and showed Spider-Man a brand new way without doing the death origin again, without doing a lot of the tropes that a lot of the other movies did, with new animation, hand-painted animation over digital animation, just beautiful stuff. I watch it at least like once a month since it's come out, and I can't wait for the next one. Like, and it's tackling all sorts of things that I never thought I would see in a movie. And it does it well, and it's beautifully voice acted. Like that is a one movie answer to a lot of that. Oh, I forgot. We got 2 minutes this time. Did you want to add anything?
Isn't it? Aren't we splitting them? Or I thought
It's
it was
just
like
2
1
minutes,
minute for you,
whoever.
1 minute for
We got
me.
2 minutes. So did
Oh
you?
shit! Okay, I thought it was sure. Yeah, so I like talking about music and things. Like I would honestly put up the soundtrack for Into the Spider-Verse against any of the tired orchestral bullshit in most of these other movies. I'm done with it. I don't care. I honestly
I
think
Black
that the Donner movies are ridiculously overrated. I think the Dark Knight is so phenomenally overrated, especially that fourth act with Harvey Dent. It's garbage. Get rid of it and be a whole lot better movie. And honestly, I loved Heath Ledger's performance, but the only reason he got that nod for the Oscar was because he died, and we all know it. Anyway, let's see what other things are now. Can I get in a few more seconds? Because I was
Yeah,
a little,
go ahead.
yeah. All right. Anyway, so you brought up James Gunn fleeing all the way back to Marvel for another movie, another special, and anyway, he would not be in his position. Now, granted, Disney screwed him over. Not going to argue that. But he would not be where he is today. He would not be taking over DC if it hadn't been for Marvel. Marvel created that and is giving DC the only chance they have of having an actual successful franchise because Marvel did it first. The Donner movies are tired and old. We don't want them anymore. The Marvel movies are coming in and cleaning it up. They're making it fresh again. They're going in new directions, like with Into the Spider-Verse, with Quantumania, with Sam Raimi coming in and doing a stealth Evil Dead 4 for Doctor
Yeah, that was
Strange.
pretty cool.
Holy shit, that was awesome. I love that. Anyway, that's my time, I think.
All right. So now we have free for all.
I'm like,
Free for
He
all. Go.
can't work
Free for
out a
all.
script. He's got to do it. He can't think off the dome.
What do you mean I can't think off the dome? You know what?
Yeah, follow it up,
Criticizing
do
a
it.
person for having an actual a preparatory process seems a little. It seems
I
a
just
little
need to
petty.
look pretty.
I will say, I will concur that Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. It was a great film. I love it. But Marvel had so little confidence in it. It was surprising to them that it was going to be a success, which just speaks to the process, the production process at Marvel, where their heads are, how they underrate new ideas, and they didn't even know that it was going to be
Marvel
good.
famously had very little confidence in Guardians of the Galaxy. They still did it. Like having little confidence in something, but still greenlighting it.
Whereas they made a whole Batgirl movie and then axed it after it was made, after spending $9 million on it. They won't even let us see like anything.
I can agree that was a
Corridor
problem.
Crew
but
had to
let's
make
also
up their
talk
own
about
trailer in order
Guardians.
to get that out there.
Like, we got to be honest, Guardians of the Galaxy was great, but it's only had diminishing returns ever since.
Guardians 2 was better than Guardians 1, and you can
disagree.
Guardians 2 made me cry,
Disagree.
and Guardians
it absolutely
1
did. Yes,
did not make me cry.
The funeral scene with Yondu. Holy no! I defy you to come up with a more affecting scene in any superhero movie. That Cat, Cat Stevens. Oh my god, a more emotionally affecting scene. Yeah, go ahead.
A more emotionally affecting
Also,
scene.
the Guardians of the Galaxy
that.
holiday special, that new Santa song is my new holiday jam. That's the only Christmas music I will listen to. It's so friggin' good and catchy.
I worked in retail
mid.
for so long that I hate Christmas music. That shit was good, man.
It was kind of mid. It also was it was very low on Guardians.
You have
basically followed
very
two
little
characters
Christmas
the entire
joy
time.
in your heart.
Defend the Eternals to me. Defend the Eternals to me.
Defend Suicide
Defend that.
Squad. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the
Defend it.
Suicide Squad was a fantastic movie
The
directed by
Suicide
James
Squad
That's
Gunn.
what I
good.
said.
It was you said the Suicide Squad.
No, I
Yes,
said
you did.
defend
You
Suicide.
said
I did not say
I
the.
heard
That was
the.
not it. Mm-mm.
We can play this
You
back
need
later.
to clean out
but
those ears,
the
man.
There's no
Suicide
defending
Squad was
Eternals. Like I
fantastic.
watched that movie and went,
Defend
it's
Justice
like
League.
nothing.
Defend-
Y'all
It's
talk
because
about
there's-
like great movie and great like storylines. I read there what it was a beige, and a lot of beige the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah,
Wait, you still talking about the Eternals?
I'm
Nobody
not going
cares.
to defend
I like
Justice
the
League. I
Eternals.
could mention
Nobody cares
that
about it.
the
Nobody
HBO
likes
Snyder
it.
cut
And
was
it
more loved than
shows-
other ones.
It shows where
I will defend Batman Begins.
It's still
I will
garbage,
defend
man.
The Dark Knight. I will defend Batman Returns. I will
Nah.
defend Superman, Superman 2, The
God.
Suicide Squad, and Aquaman.
What about the one
Gross.
with
Those aren't
The
arguments. Those are just
the Suicide
utterances.
Squad was very. The Suicide Squad was good. Suicide.
I said
like,
the
give me
Suicide
some, give me
Squad.
some good stuff about Will
I
Smith.
didn't say Suicide
Like,
Squad. I said The Suicide Squad was a fantastic film.
So
And James
Okay.
Gunn.
yes,
James Gunn
yes,
fled
it
Marvel.
was.
And you're right. We're getting a Guardians
You're
3.
welcome. You're
that's it.
welcome.
That's the end of
okay,
it.
yeah.
That's the end of it. You can't take
You're
credit for a
welcome for James
creator that
Gunn.
fled ship from your company because of how he was treated and has now moved on to another company and is going
Which
it is flag
is-
shipping a whole new
What's
universe
happening
of
with that?
potential.
What just happened with that CEO that did that? Oh yeah, he got fired. He got fired because he fucked up. Like, meanwhile, Warner Brothers is deleting half of their animation catalog and
There's
the
like-
entire Supergirl movie. Batgirl. Sorry.
As soon as if they get rid of Doom Patrol off HBO Max, I'm just
Oh,
never
God.
watching
Oh, God.
anything again because that's the only
Oh,
thing
that
I'm
would
really
be s-
watching HBO
That would be
Max for.
extremely sad. Yeah.
Doom Patrol is a fantastic DC show, DC live action show.
Mhm.
It's very good, as is Titans, Peacemaker, The Flash,
Eh,
Smallville,
Peacemaker
Arrow.
was really good.
Harley
I didn't.
Sandman
I didn't
was
watch
great.
Flash
Titans.
and Arrow are
Preacher.
part of
That's
it.
it.
All right.
And they're
Free for
canceled
all's
this year.
over. All right,
Yeah.
so let's go with
Arrow
the
was
questions.
garbage. I hated it. Legends of Tomorrow. It's so terrible.
Oh, I'll fight you on that. But
Oh.
It got better.
All right,
It did. It got better.
let's go to the chat for the chat questions.
that little crack in your voice, like.
guys.
I
got
give
it.
it.
We got to hit the
moderator.
chat question.
All right. All right.
So let's see. Which character needs their own movie but will probably never get one? Start with Marvel.
Are we answering for Marvel or for DC?
Whatever you think. I mean, it's going to
Why don't we?
help
Why don't we?
win
We've
your
been
case.
switching them the whole time, so why don't we just switch it and go with? I'll skip the DC.
For DC, I'm actually hopeful for DC because of some of the stuff that I've seen. But I don't think we'll ever get a Legion of Superheroes movie in our lifetime, and that would be amazing because that's like history, the whole history of DC Comics from a future perspective, told through kids, and they have their own weird space adventures and stuff. I think that would be a blockbuster movie, but I don't think we'll ever see it in our lifetime.
Yeah, probably not.
All right, DC.
So Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel character. Yeah.
Nick, you
Got a
got
good
one?
Well, the one I was going to say is the Scarlet Witch. And I know she had WandaVision, but I feel like that character deserves her own film. She is one of the, like, I would, in my opinion, she truly is the best portrayed female character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think that she deserves her own film. I think that she has such a compelling narrative arc from villain to hero to troubled, struggling, grieving person to villain again. And I would love to see a film that explores where she goes next. But I don't think we'll get it. I think instead they're just going to continue to explore that story in other side projects, and she'll be another character that's just featured in other people's spotlight.
She might be showing up in the new Agatha Harkness thing. Maybe.
Exactly.
That's
Wouldn't be
that's a
surprised.
rumor.
Yeah.
I think Jessica Jones. I think I liked her. I liked the show on. I liked it. It was a great show. I think that is a character that could get developed. It would have great movies. I think as a film itself, it would be really compelling. And she's just she's not as great as the Scarlet Witch is. She's not that typical superhero. And so I think that would be, I don't think that that's one that will ever make it to the big screen. I think that that's going to be probably kept in, serial, Netflix movies, or shows. But I think Jessica Jones would actually be a really great movie. Give Marvel a little bit more edge than it's got right now on the screen. So.
Okay. I think if I had to choose like a DC character, I'd like to see. I honestly there was one plan and then it got axed. I would like to see a Cyborg movie. I feel like Ray. Oh God, I can't think of his last name. He did a decent job considering he was completely shut out of basically anything he was ever in, and I feel like that character has a compelling past and like a lot of. And again, from the Teen Titans, more like a Marvel character.
He is the best part of the Snyder Cut, in my opinion.
Really is, yeah. So I would love to see a movie that focuses more on him. But considering, I think it's been axed like 3 times at this point, I don't know that it'll ever happen.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. This has been pretty interesting because we've gotten through 2 rounds in an hour.
That's pretty good for us.
There's like 10 rounds to go, but I guess
we did better than 1 round.
Yeah. Although it probably, maybe not. We need a tiebreaker, but the tiebreaker is going to have to wait until the second episode of this thing, because at this point, your judge, moderator, supreme being, whatever you want to call me, that's cool, has it 1-1.
The Nexus of Fate.
So
1-1.
I thought the first round was very. I mean, Nick, you were very eloquent in both your arguments, but in fairness, the rebuttal for the second round was so good on the Marvel part, which was awesome. So you DC definitely won round 1, and I think Marvel was losing round 2, but then they, during the rebuttal and free for all, actually, kind of swayed my vote towards them. So I have it now at 1-1.
Wow.
So at this point, we're going to have to do another show. I mean, it's just that simple.
To be continued.
And let me now
true believer.
I'm going to give you the top. Wait.
Now I got to do
Nick,
homework.
you have like a month to make your scripts now, so.
I got homework to do.
Hold on. I'm going to give you the topics of the next couple of rounds so
Hold
that
on, let me get out my Google Docs.
Ryan can go for it.
Dumb brain need write down things.
I know. I'm like, wait, Google Docs. Got it. Hold on.
All right. The rounds in the next episode will be the most iconic. Power battles will be set round 2, and animation will be round 3.
Okay. The most iconic.
Most iconic, power battles, and animation.
Oh,
those are great categories.
So yeah, I think the best is yet to come. Actually.
Yeah.
This has been very fun.
I am excited for round 2. I also want to put out a personal disclaimer. It is possible, especially during the free-for-all, that you may have looked at it and thought that we came off very heated. This is all for fun and all for gags, and we're all full of love. And remember, we are doing this as a debate, so we might say something here or there, or we're trying to win that we maybe in our hearts aren't 100% on board with.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
like, I feel safe saying, because the next one of these is to be announced. But Peacemaker was one of my favorite TV shows of last year in general. Like, Peacemaker was so
100%.
I wanted to hate it. I wanted to hate it because I hated
really
Peacemaker as a character.
He was so
but it's
good.
good.
He had such a great character arc. Like it was really insanely well done.
Yeah.
So they got one. They got one. They got
I really think, in my opinion, Marvel owns the cinematic universe and DC owns TV. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the way I.
Certain TV
honestly.
shows, I just wish they would stop killing them. Because
that's
I
true.
mean,
like,
when are we gonna get when
Titans
are we gonna get
strong.
when are we
like
gonna get a new
Titans.
Harley Quinn season? Like, what's going on with that?
didn't
I
one
know,
just
but
end?
it needs to happen.
Yeah, didn't it? There was a new
It's
one.
so good.
Well, is there a new one?
I thought there was
No.
like 3 seasons out, right?
Yeah.
I thought
The
maybe I
animated
just
one?
missed it. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I missed it. Okay, never mind.
What a great show.
I don't pay for HBO, so
Oh yeah. The third one came out. It came out.
they got rid of Infinity Train, and I was like, nope, fuck off.
Harley's trauma showing the whole time, but it's brilliant. So anyway.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But
like,
y'all did a
that's
great job. Great, compelling arguments. I loved it. Yeah, beautiful job, guys. Super, super amazing. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Thanks for being on. I would do this whole thing about what's coming up on the BSBN, but I'm not that guy. I have Ray for that. Oh, Aroogs is here. Yay! Give us the lowdown.
Okay. All right. Gonna go full WDI. All right. So right after this, it is 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. There's BSBN Gaming. They are doing Killing Floor. It's a whole bunch of our crew members. So stay tuned. We're gonna just raid right over into one of them, or just go follow one of them. Immediately following that, it is Zartnor After Dark. That was our resident elder being Nev. We love him very much. He's a great gamer. So if you late night, you want some snacks and good gaming gameplay, go watch Nev. Tomorrow is Friday, and that is at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, right here on twitch.tv/thedondero. It is Dinks with Kinks Live. Yay! That's with me, Dondero, and Shep, and we are going to be revisiting some of our old episodes and discussing sort of what we missed, sort of what we didn't miss. It's always a fun time. And then following that, it is Freak Out Femboy Friday with our resident Hope. We love him. He always plays some scary. So if you like scary video games, please tune in. He's our resident femboy, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Saturday, and a new time at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. It is Saturday Shenanigans with our amazing Miko. She games, she crafts, and she just does fun shit. So show up, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And then at 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central, it is Bear Plays. It was D&D for D, but he's taking a little bit of a break, and he's doing some gameplay with Great Big Bear. And so he's been playing some game. I don't know, some whatever. He's gaming. So then on Sunday, it is a day full of Aroogs. That is me at twitch.tv/nerdmomace, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. It is me and Sean, and we are doing Waking Up with Nana and Pep Pep. That's where we talk about growing up with religious trauma and sort of how we deal with it. And we just make fun of our childhoods and how we're just trying to deconstruct our childhood and reconstruct ourselves as decent human beings. And then following that at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, it is 76 Sundays, where I sit and I play Fallout 76 for an hour and a half, and I do fun shit, and I traipse around the wasteland and do a whole bunch of fun stuff. So that is, and then followed that at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, it is BSBN Gaming. So there we go.
That's a lot.
I missed that. All right, who are we raiding into, my friends? We are going to raid into Nev,
Yes.
so please stay, and we'll take you right over to Nev's channel. He's a funny guy, and he games like a crazy man. But that's us for tonight, and we appreciate you watching and participating. And we like to thank everybody that participated in the panel, and we like to peace and love y'all. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace, everyone.